the SM Media Podcast Network. Hi folks, and welcome to this week's episode of the 80 right here on SM Media. I'm Scott Pike. It's an absolute pleasure as always to be your host and managed to get a show together. Obviously we were expecting someone else to come on. We obviously won't say who that was, but managed to get Josh Gardner from Rossvale in at the last minute. Josh, obviously you were planned to come on later on in the series, but thank you very much for stepping in today.
No, pleasure's all mine, mate. I'm buzzing to be back on. Feel like I've not seen you in about a week.
I know, and we spent a lot of time together last week, and quite a kind of, it was a tin chat, wasn't it? But it was good. I enjoyed it.
It was brilliant, man.
So the West of Scotland radio show as well that obviously Paul Gordon does. Keep an eye on that every Saturday. Would imagine we'll be back on in the future. I think we have been asked, but no, it was good. But we kind of had a lot of conversations last week. When we'd spoken last week, we were in the position, I think there was only 3 games on that weekend, so we had kind of chatted amongst ourselves about the kind of 5 leagues and where we thought everything was at. We've had a kind of round of fixtures this weekend to kind of do a bit of a deep dive on. There's a lot of big results, a lot of big games that took place. Josh, obviously, before we get into kind of talking about the cups and the leagues, in terms of kind of that 4th division that you're in, we'll get into it later on, but you're doing pretty well.
I think, see, if I'm being honest, I would probably say, I think the general consensus in our change room is we could be doing a lot better.
Right, okay.
That's we're a wee bit disappointed with it in-house, that we feel as if we should be doing a bit better than we are now. There's obviously other factors in that. We've had quite a long injury list and stuff, but listen, as I think I said it to you in the radio as well when we were in, like I say, it's like I sort of changed my target, so to speak, halfway through the season, especially around about November time with the way it was going and the injuries, and I kind of just wanted to stay in touch and distance between now and the start of the year, and we've done that. And I think it's going to go right to the wire, that promotion run, to be honest with you, with who's there. So it's quite exciting, especially for that 3rd promotion spot. So listen, we're in the hunt, and for a club like Rossvale, that's where we can expect to be, and we'll give it a right good going to the end of the season and see if we can eventually get up at the league. But it's getting harder and harder in that 4th division, I'll tell you that.
I will kind of touch on the 4th division as well. I think we did have 7 games in that league, so there's a lot to get into with that. We'll cover that later on in the show. We'll start with obviously Clydebank going to Hibs in the Scottish Senior Scottish Cup. Lost 3-0, massive day for the club. I think it took 2,000 fans. Absolutely brilliant to see that. And the one thing we spoke about last week, and again I spoke to a lot of people about this during the week, all I think anybody asked is that they gave a good account of themselves, and they absolutely did.
I've not spoke to Moss since. I did text him the night before to say like good luck and stuff. But I spoke to Craig Truesdale.
Right, okay.
And he kind of says it was a tough game. I think Clydebank did set out to try and be a bit more aggressive than it probably planned out. They were, and we've all been there. I know I've certainly been there. I've actually been there against Clydebank, actually, where you try and think you're going to play a wee bit higher up the pitch before you know it, you're camped out in your own 18-yard box. And I think it kind of went like that. I think the size of the pitch threw them off a wee bit as well. Like the pitch was massive, and I think probably without speaking to him off, I think the thing that will annoy him more so will be the timing of the goals more than anything else. I think they've lost a goal. What is it? 2 minutes into the second half, 2 minutes into the first, and I think the timing of them will have killed them. Like there isn't a sort of bedding in period in either half, and I think that would have probably been the target before the game, to maybe go this first sort of 10, 15 minutes without conceding, not having many chances on your goal, and sort of feel your way into the game. So it's almost that, not the game plan out the window as such, but it's a tough one for them. But what a great experience it must have been as well. And I've seen loads of the players posting about it, and the management staff and their families were there, and some of the pictures are great, and all with the fact that all the fans behind them. And listen, hopefully they things spark that as well, and more of the fans that turned up will turn up in the league duty as well, because they're they're going good guns in the league as well. So no, it's all good for Clydebank, and obviously they've got a bit of work now to do in the league going forward. It's hopefully it doesn't derail them. I've seen that happening. I don't think it will, but
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move into the Junior Cup. Quite a tough weekend for the West clubs. Obviously, Irvine Meadow, Jamie got off to a brilliant start with a 4-2 win at home to West Calder. Kilburn came up short against Camelon. Again, no shame in that. Camelon are flying in the east. Glenafton 3-0 down, come back to 3-3, then lost 4-3 to Trinent, and Troon were out in penalties to Armadale. Again, the kind of Junior Cup, obviously, it's a bit of an anomaly this season with clubs been in it like Camelon, Trinent, Armadale as well. So it is a lot more, like, there's a lot more sides in it, and there's a lot of sides that probably won't be in it again, I would imagine. I think this is going to be a one-off season, I'd assume. But again, like, Irvine Meadow, Jamie's got that's as good a start as Jamie could ask for.
I think it's about the best they could ask for as well. Because I think you've got a wee bit of Irvine in there. Am I right in saying they were 2-0 down at half time as well?
Yeah.
So they've come in 2-0 down at half time. So he's I don't know, but I don't know how the game went. I've not spoke to Jamie. Weirdly, I actually spoke to Lewis yesterday twice on the phone, and I never even asked him about Jamie's game. I don't know why I've not done that, but I don't know how that first half went. I don't know if it was a case of they just weren't good enough, or was it a case of they were doing well? Because sometimes the scoreline can lie to you. Sometimes they're doing really well, but they've maybe managed to just take away two chances that they've managed to create. And so I don't know how the game was going, but the fact that he's probably he's probably had his say at half time, and whatever he said's worked. So he's got buy-in straight away for the players already, that he knows what he's talking about. He's went out and they've done the business in the second half, and scoring 4 goals against anybody at any level in the one half takes some doing. So it's a great start for Jamie, and I think, does that get them a potential tie against Pollock now in the next round?
I think so. I've not actually looked at the draw yet. I know the draw was out on Sunday night. I've not actually looked at it yet. I'll see if I can get it up. But
I think they play Pollock, and then the winner of the game play Johnston Borough, funnily enough, his old club. So it's a good tie for them, and he'll be pleased with that. And it's good as well, because it now gives them another training week, another chance to get players back in as well. So I dare say he'll have a few in the pipeline to come into Irvine Meadow to try and push them on a wee bit. So no, I was pleased they got off to a good start, because I like Jamie, he's a good guy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I will try and get that draw up as we go on later on in the show. West of Scotland Cup, Atherley beat B 3-2, Hurlford 1, Johnson Borough 2, Shotts 3, Royal Albert 0, Auchinleck 3, 4th-1 in the third round. Muirkirk beating Maybole 3-1, another great result for Ross.
Aye, they're flying now, aren't they? They're absolutely flying. I was going to say they had a tiny wee blip, but I didn't even think it was much of a blip, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it was more Neilston being probably good in the league and probably putting their run together. But no, that's another great result for them, and they just seem to keep going from strength to strength. And I think you're always, because you're not used to seeing Muirkirk up there, you're probably waiting on the wheels falling off a wee bit, but it doesn't seem to be happening. So fair play to them, and they've got a young side, and I've not actually had the chance to watch them yet, but I've heard they play a decent brand of football as well, so it's good to see, and long may that continue.
Yep, absolutely. We'll move into the Premier Division. We had 4 games over the weekend. We will start with probably the most eye-catching result of the day. Drumchapel 0, Largs 2. Big opportunity for both clubs to put a wee bit of pressure on Clydebank. Obviously, it's worked out the way of Largs' Armley's 10-year anniversary in charge. Again, a massive accomplishment for him, and a massive result to mark that, to put them third in the league within 3 points of Clydebank. If you're looking at that league, I'll get your kind of thoughts on that kind of top 6 later on. But you look at the consistency of Largs; they've been incredible under Army.
It's incredible, and do you know what I find? I don't think they had Will Shield playing as well yesterday. I don't think he was playing, so that shows you as well that it's not just him scoring the goals. They've got goals all over the team. And you hear a lot about, especially in these leagues, about budgets and certain teams spending certain amount of money, but Largs only one of the teams. And I'm not saying, I don't know what Largs' budget is, but I dare say it's a far cry away from some of the teams that get spoke about. And it just shows you that the budgets aren't all the be all and end all.
No.
And it is a lot about having a good manager, having the right people playing for you, playing the right way with the right attitudes. And I think Largs epitomise that, and I don't think anybody would like to face Largs, especially when they're at home as well. So I think Arnie deserves huge credit there as well, and the longevity he's shown there. And it's great to see guys getting the rewards as well for the efforts that are putting in, and they don't show any signs as well. I think they'll push Clydebank and probably Troon all the way, to be honest.
Yeah, I think they're absolutely flying as well. Massive result for Largs. St Cadoc's, they had an impressive 6-1 home win over Darvel. We'll start with obviously talk about St Cadoc's. A double from Kieran Diver, goals from Brady, Hughes, Kelly and McHugh. St Cadoc's had a bit of a slump at the start, but they've managed to kind of find a bit of form. They're obviously now beginning to find that groove. I think they're unbeaten in the last 5 league games, I think. They're finding that bit of consistency, and they've, as we've said at the start of the season, we've said it a lot. They've got the squad, they've got a lot of firepower up front, and I wouldn't write them off yet.
No, I wouldn't either. And I like wee Fez as well. He's a good manager, great coach. But what I think, am I right in saying St Cadoc's done this last year as well? I don't think they got off to a brilliant start last year, and then they sort of kicked off. So that'll probably be a wee bit a bugbear for Feds, to be honest with you. He'll be probably looking at his end of season form and wishing that he could just start it a bit better. And who knows what the extra few points could do. He's up there closer to the league, and they'll definitely be a team over the next sort of few years. I imagine, I kind of see similar to Clydebank with them a wee bit, where Clydebank sort of went on this building phase, and now they are where they are. And I wouldn't be surprised if we were sitting here maybe a season or two time and we've got St Cadoc's doing a similar job, and Fez has sort of worked his way with the squad, and he's very much, he will work hard with them, and what he'll be trying to do with them will be a wee bit different to what gets done elsewhere. And he does have the quality of players, but he's tweaked a few things this year as well. So no, great result. I didn't see that coming because Darvel had picked up, especially. I know a lot. It was in cups.
Are you been surprised with? Like, I don't think a lot. Like we weren't. I don't think anybody was expecting Darvel to be what they were even last season. Right? They were obviously they won cups last season and things like that. I didn't expect it to be as like them sitting rock bottom and like way
Nah,
off the pace. Like, I didn't see that coming.
I don't think any of them did. I don't even think
Nah,
anybody at Darvel would have
nah.
expected that. So I know they obviously don't spend the money like they used to, obviously, and that's been well documented. But they've still got a good squad of players there as well. But again, the result yesterday kind of, because I don't know Mick personally, but watching his teams for afar, they don't tend to get beat with that much of a margin as well. So he'll not be happy with that, and especially with the sort of recent form that they've had, where they have picked up. They would have been looking to push that game a bit further and being a bit more competitive. But listen, fair play to St Cadoc's, because they do have the quality in their team to do that to anybody in the league, to be honest.
Nah, it's just it's something I didn't expect for them to be sitting bottom. Like I did think, oh, they maybe drop a wee bit, but it is maybe just a kind of tough time
The
for them.
relegation fight's it's an interesting one, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? And Benburn look to be kind of over it at the moment. Obviously, there's still a lot of football to be played, but them winning 2-1 at Gartcairn was a result I didn't see coming. But when the more you look at Benburn as well, they're capable. And
Aye, definitely.
another big result for Davy at Benburn. Like
Was that a 90th minute winner as well?
Mm.
Aye, and obviously now I think Gartcairn play Pollock next week, and they're going to, I think obviously they might have one or two players suspended as well who got sent off in that game. I don't know whether it was straight reds or not. I think one of them is. I think Big Rumsby was a straight red, so he'll be out, and he normally plays at the heart of that defence. So it doesn't get easier for Gartcairn, to be honest with you. And but they just need to try and pick it up a wee bit, because you don't want to be going into the business end of the season and you're still needing to get a few points to get yourself off the bottom. And Hurlford's still there fighting as well, and Glenafton, look, they've totally pulled themselves away from it. So
Yeah.
it can be done. It can be done, and hopefully they do pick it up. Obviously, they're a local club to me, so I wouldn't want to see them go down. So I know how hard the guys like Big Army Alec and Martin and stuff have worked to get the club where it is. So hopefully it's not a one season
I
wonder.
think if you'd said to him that Gartcairn now you can stay up and move on to next season, I think they would just take it, because it's been that like bad. No, like obviously you look at the results and they'd be sitting seventh now if things had went their way, and you'd think they would
Mentally
just
that as well.
finish 13th and move on to next season. I think that's what they'll be desperate for. But again, I would imagine they'll be fine. Just the kind of squad they have.
Am I right in saying Darvel get a points deduction as well?
They get 3 points deducted. Yeah, they are.
Right.
They're in 1 point. They've had 4 draws. They're the only team that's not won a game. But you look at Gartcairn. Gartcairn have won the same amount of games as Larks, and
No,
they're
it's not, isn't it?
like what 17 points behind. It's just the way the world's worked. And two sides that have maybe kind of struggled for a bit of consistency this season. Cumnock obviously drew 1-1 with Pollock. We were talking about Cumnock last week. Pollock obviously I think are still going through a bit of a transitional period, but according to everybody who was at that game, a draw was perfectly fair.
I will obviously my best mate plays for Pollock. He's a right back, and I spoke to him, and he said it was a fair result. To be honest with you, and that was kind of it. He never had much to say on it. I think Cumnock did dominate the play. I think they sort of he did say they try and play a wee bit, and they did have most of the control of the game, and it was more Pollock just kind of sitting in and hurt them on the counter. But I did see the highlights, and Josh Jack scored an
It was a
absolute
great goal.
belter. It was a great finish. But probably if you had to ask two of the teams, I don't think the two of them would be happy with where they are now. I think the two of them would want to be doing that wee bit better, especially Swifty, Cumnock. I would imagine they would want to be further up the table than they are.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting kind of touching on the Premier Division as well. Obviously, we've mentioned Clydebank, and you look at the league. The biggest thing Clydebank have got is the amount of games they've got between now and the end of the season. 20 games to play between the 20th of January and the end of May. Like that's a lot of football. You'd imagine they've got the squads. They play Shots on Saturday. I think a massive game for them will be that game against Bede in the fourth.
Definitely.
I know that'll be a big push for them if they can win that.
See with that as well, though, Scott. You hope that the games don't catch up on them in terms of even if they win the league, like in terms of trying to get promoted into the Lowlands. Because am I right in saying Darvel had similar? Remember? Am I right in saying
Darvel? I think Darvel had like 13 games to play in like
it was something ridiculous.
9 weeks
Remember?
or something, and then they played Trinent. Remember they
That's
played
right.
Trinent, half their team were missing. Yeah.
And then did they not? Am I right in saying as well? Did they not try and pull out the West or something at that year as well because they were trying to take off some of the cup games at the time?
There was something. There was something going on. But again, it's there's two things. Obviously, like the amount of cups we spoke about last week and the weather. Like
Aye.
it's tough, but that's why you need a big squad. You need a big squad. You need a lot of firepower. It's going to be tough. It's tough for anybody in that league. Like no matter what. And I'll tell you, I'll be honest here. The West team needs to get promoted this season, or that's again 4 years. That'll be 4 years that our East team have been up. And again, like, I remember having a conversation that the Lowland League was beginning to form into a good league, but West teams are slowly losing it. And the West might get another team. So you might end up having 4 going down because of the way it's working. Because you look at the bottom of that
who's
league.
at the top of the East just now?
Musselburgh are top, Jeanfield and Hillabead. I don't think Hillabead can go up, but Musselburgh and Jeanfield can.
Again, Musselburgh's been flying this year as well, haven't they? Great Scottish Cup run as well. So, I would just like to see us maybe work it a wee bit better and can we give our teams the best possible. Similar to what we were talking about with Kenny Young, wasn't it, when he was on the phone? And like, can we just try and give our teams the sort of best chance possible of getting up through this pyramid? Because it isn't. You're right in what you're saying. We do need to try and get somebody up eventually to show because we keep. I think we champion it a lot that we think we're the strongest side in the West and we are. I believe we are. But at the end of the day, you need to get the promotions to prove it as well. We should have a few teams coming out through our leagues to get into the Lowland League.
Absolutely. Well, let's move into the First Division. 5 games. There was only 1 win though in 5 games, which again shows you how tight that league is. Thornleywood beat Ashfield 3-0, a double from Kinlan and a goal from Neeson. And that puts Thornleywood up into 5th. And Thornleywood have been a side that have maybe been a bit quiet about their business, but they're right in amongst it now.
The new management team in there have picked it up really well recently. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if they've tried to bring in new players. I don't think they're too great at updating their social media. Either that or I'm not too great at checking it, one of the two. But so I don't know what the changes are. I don't know if it's just a case of the new management team's come in and they've picked it up or they've signed a couple of players. But I think they've always had a good squad there. That I'm sure there's Rossvale there as well, and I think they've got Carswell and stuff who are good players for that division. And I think even trying to build up a wee bit of consistency in the First Division alone is extremely difficult. So the fact that they've managed to get a decent amount of consistency in there since the new management team have went in is massively impressive for they two as well. And I hopefully they do. They're a good club for Newwood, and I think they've, for what I've heard as well, they've got big plans off the pitch as well to sort of grow it over the next few years, and I think they've got a lot of new committee members with bright ideas. They're trying to build up the youth side as well. I know they've got their twenties, and they're trying to build around about that area as well with their youth team. So, they're definitely pushing in the right direction for Newwood, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them kick on next year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just run through the other results in that league. Renfrew 2, Rob Roy 2, Ardross 2, Kilwinning 2, Rutherglen 1, Cumbernauld 1, and Vale of Clyde 0, Blantyre 0. Not a lot. I like you look at the games, like they're all very, very hard to predict. There's a lot of surprises in there, and the league is exactly what you'd expect it to be, tight everywhere.
I find the first division absolutely impossible to predict. To be honest, it's ridiculous. And I watched the highlights today actually. Cumbernauld United and Rutherglen. If I'm being honest, I'll end up getting a text for Dolsey and that as well. But I kind of felt that both teams looked really rusty.
I think a lot of teams will be, like that.
Well, we certainly were, and I felt they were as well. I felt both teams were, if I'm being honest. Like, because I watched quite a lot of Glencairn's highlights. So I said that to you last week. I quite like them as a club, and
Yeah.
I know a few of their players and stuff, and I always watch them. And they're normally quite slick, but they were definitely a bit. It was a bit of a scrappy game, and scrappy. When it's scrappy in the highlights, that's when you know it's scrappy. Where it would have been like in the day, because that would have been the actual highlights. That's the best bits of the game they're trying to pick out, and it was scrappy. So, I probably for what I seen, a draw looked a bit fair, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. But that league is so hard to call. We'll move into the second division. Obviously, Neilston again flying 2-0 home win over Larkhall. Putting to bed. Remember opening day, Larkhall beat Neilston 6-1 at home.
That's right.
And Neilston have just not lost a touch since then. And they look. We'd spoke about that last week. Like sides that maybe like they need a year down. They need a year just down just to get momentum back and. They look way ahead of what's in the league, and they go and push on. And I can see Neilston being that team. They look absolutely rock solid here.
Aye, they don't show any signs of slowing down either. I think it's that what we spoke about last week as well. It's the momentum. It's that momentum shift. It's so big, especially in like tight divisions where there's no much between it. And if you've got that momentum, it's so hard to kick a team off that perch. We're kind of seeing it in our league now with teams like Knightswood and the Port and stuff who do have that momentum, and they're hard to stop because they've got that inner belief, and it's what every team strives for. So it's going to be interesting, that league, and I keep a wee eye on it. It is close, and the promotion hunt will be interesting as well.
Other result that caught my eye: Whitlets 1, Bonnet 2. Obviously, Whitlets have Mick McCann's left Whitlets as well. They went through a few managers recently. Hopefully they find somebody. They're in a good position in the league, but hopefully they find someone who can just go in and stabilise them. Obviously, a really tight club, and I just hope they find the right person. But I think Gordon will have got a lot of excitement out of winning 2-1 for Bonnet, and I think that would have been a big result going to his ex-club and winning.
Definitely, and he's made a few signings as well recently, since like sort of mid-December onwards. I'm sure he got the two for Eglinton.
Yeah.
He got Matt Walker and Chris Chisholm, who are two good players as well. So I dare say they too have made a difference. And no, that's a really good win. Whitlets, I think they'll pick it up. I think they'll get somebody decent in, and I don't know why Mick left. I don't know what went on there. I don't know actually what happened, but I think they'll push on again and they'll get a wee run going. So they're a good club.
Yeah, no, they're absolutely a brilliant club, and same with Bonnet as well. That I've always said about the kind of job they're doing as well is really good, and I've always got a lot of time for Gordon and Ian there. We'll move into Bellshill. They won 4-0 at home to Les Mahago. Obviously, John Fallon's first game at the club. Double from Markey, goals from Long and Docherty. And it's put Bellshill kind of right up the league. They're in 11th, and it could be a wee. The new manager bounce is obviously a thing, but they're a side that could push up the league a wee bit. Like all they need to do is maybe win 3 or 4 games, and they could be kind of moving up to places again.
Aye, no, definitely, and they've got a good squad as well. Bellshill is, and it'll be a tough place to go coming into the winter with them as well. Up at Rockburn, so I don't think anybody will fancy it going up there, and obviously they'll be used to it. So, no, it's a good start for Johnny. It is a good start for him, and that's all you can ask for is a winning start when you're going to a club. And You just want to build on it now, and get a good training week in. That's all he'll be hoping for, is to get a new training week, maybe a couple of new players in, if that's what he's looking to do. But I think Bellsall's a slightly different job to take, if I'm being honest with you, because Neely and Murray done a great job there. And normally when you go into a team like, we're talking about Jamie going to Irvine Meadow, where you might find you maybe need to add a wee bit of new blood into the team. Whereas I don't think Bellsall's like that. I think Bellsall's already got a good squad there, and I think the guys have maybe left for, it seems like, personal reasons or whatever it may be. Seems like they've left in good terms anyway. So it might just be a case that Johnny needs to go in and carry on the good work that they guys have done. And I dare say he'll add his own stamp on it. What that stamp will be, I don't know, because I don't know anything about Johnny. But aye, great start from him. And they're a good club, and I hope to see them kick on as well.
Cambuslang, obviously big result for them, 4-1 home win over Craigmark, double from McCurdy, 8 goals from Driver and Lyon. And Cambuslang, obviously, like they've come down the leagues a wee bit, but that's a win in the board. They'll be hoping just a bit of breathing space and a bit of stability this season.
Definitely, and Craigmark, I think, are just dying for the season.
Struggling in the eye.
I think they just want the season over and done with, I would imagine, which is a horrible place to be for Craigmark, and still to go there and 4-1's not a disgrace. Like, they've obviously went and competed for large periods of the game, and aye, but it's a good win for Cambuslang. If they were getting beat there, then they were probably, no disrespect to Craigmark, but if you're bottom of the table and you've only got, I think, 4 points, is it they've only got, and
three, 1 win for 14.
three, so they would then be looking at, if you're Cambuslang Rangers and you don't win, they're probably thinking, where's the next win going to come for that? Would have been the one they would have been banking on, and they got the job done. So it's just to see if they can kick on. I seen that they signed Rhys McAteer, who was at Knightswood last year, and I think he was at he was at Clydebank 20s this year, and they brought him in, so they must be looking to get a few boys in the door as well. So they should hopefully kick on as well, Cambuslang.
Big away wins for Kilsyth and Yoker. Kilsyth Rangers 1-1-0 at St Anthony's, and Yoker 1-2-1 away at Caledonian Locomotives. Kilsyth are 6th in the table with 24 points, Yoker in 7th with 22, and they're just solid sides.
Aye, they have no much between them, to be honest. There's no much between many of the teams in that league, if I'm being honest. Kind of similar to the first, it can kind of go, most of the top teams can go either way. We're actually going to play Kilsyth in a friendly on the 8th of February, so it'd be good to get a wee look at them, because I've not seen them. I've just kind of see their results and stuff, so it'd be good to get a wee game against them. And Kev's doing great work there along with Peter, so it'd be good to see the guys there.
Yep, absolutely. Maryhill drew 2-2 with Lanark, obviously went into the promotion places with that result. Maryhill, obviously, but a bit of a tough season for them.
Maryhill's a funny one for me, because I think they're a top side. I like their manager as well. They play lovely way they play. I think, see, if I'm being honest with Maryhill, I think it's maybe more a mentality thing, where they seem to be going down quite early in games, whereas I think in that game they were 2-0 up and then blew a 2-0 lead. I'm sure they'd done that before Christmas as well at some point. I'm sure they'd done the same thing, went 2-0 up and blew a lead. So I think they show signs of being a top side, like going a few goals up against good teams, and then they seem to not really put it in for the full 90 minutes, which will be extremely frustrating, not just for the manager, it's frustrating for the players, because they'll be seeing in sparks that they're good enough and they can do it. They're more than worthy of being in that league, and then it'll be annoying them that it's just not lasting a full 90 minutes or 80 minutes, and it's very frustrating for them, to be honest with you, and because it's not like they're down there and they're no good enough. They are good enough. It's just a really frustrating time. I imagine Mark's probably written his hair out with it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll move into the third division. Top 4 all won. Finar went into 4th place with a 4-1 home win over Perthshire. They went above them in the league. Kilsyth, obviously, brilliant run there on. They won 3-0 at home to Irvine Victoria. Finar, Greenock as well, they're absolutely flying. 1-0 away to Glasgow Uni. Thorn beat 3-2, goals from Roger, Dolling and Steele. Thorn, obviously, 4 points clear. Greenock no far behind them. Kilsyth and Finar are closing as well. But you look at that table, Thorn and Greenock look pretty hard to see past, but it's very, very tight at that kind of for third to 9th. Third to even 10th, there's only about 8 points.
Aye, definitely. And I think Foran again. That's a fantastic win for Foran, to be honest with you. Really good win, and it's a huge win for Greenock as well. Because am I right saying I might double check that. I think they won 1-0. Is it 1-0?
1-1 away to Glasgow Uni, who have been very, very good this season.
They've picked up, aye. So it's like a case of they would have looked at that, and probably I'm going to say maybe Greenock probably weren't quite at their best that day as well, and they've maybe just come out with scraped through with a 1-0 or whatever it may be. It's a narrow scoreline, and they've went out and checked the result and seen that Fawn's probably won again, so they realised they had to win. So I don't think the teams are in any danger of not getting promoted. It's just a case of what one of them can go on to win the league, to be honest. And for the title race, it's good for us that the two of them managed to pick up points at the weekend. But I can't see by form, to be honest with you. I just don't know when they're going to derail. They seem to be. You look at certain games. I even looked at the Freve game and go, that could be a wee one with the slip up there, and they've no. And I think they've got Glenvale next week, I think, or is it the week after? The derby down there, isn't it? That's a derby, that one, so they'll be up for that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting, and it'll be an interesting watch that. And see how they go next week, because you know yourself, a derby, anything can happen, and it's been heated with the two in the past.
And you look at the other results in that league as well. Like Luger beating Glasgow United 2-1. David Temple at Glasgow United as well. Like
Do you know, I've seen that as well. I thought, is it no way they've got good Willie and Temple and up front together? Like that's one of the best partnerships in the West.
Again, and you're thinking like they're 14th. Like if they two can click, they'll not be 14th for long.
No, but great result for Luger.
Massive result for Luger. Yeah.
That would have made Johnny happy as well.
It would have, and like again, like they're not out of it either. Like they've done really well, and they've got a really good young squad as well. Looking at the other two wins in that league, Glenvale, obviously, I've not been disappointed with Glenvale. I'm just amazed at where they are. Like 1-5 away to Vale of Leaving, who again have maybe not been as great either, but Glenvale will be looking for that to pick up, because they are. I would say
Glenvale were down to 9 men on Saturday.
I know it's a wild game of football, obviously, but they've got a lot of talent, and you'd imagine they'd be able to pick up.
I think they will pick it up. They've got Noah Young back as well now, and speaking to Lewis yesterday, I think see they sort of wins as well, where you're down to 9 men and you've come back and you've ended up winning 5-4. And listen, the grand scheme of things, you're not going to win every week 5-4. You don't see that every week, but. No. The fact that you've got that sort of euphoria at the end of the game, where the changing room would have been buzzing and everybody's ready to go again into the new week. So it's a great start to the year for them, and I hope they do kick on, because I'm sick of listening to Lewis moaning on that phone, having to talk him down half a bridge this week. The twos are actually having to talk to each other down half a bridge this week, the way it's going now.
And a team that's picked up in that league actually are Girvan. They won 6-2 away at Wishaw as well. They're unbeaten in the last 4, and that's them up to 11th. Like Dean's beginning to find it there.
Aye, he is. Dean's doing a great job there. That's I think that's one that, as Andy would have probably been, I think it's a winnable one for them, and one that the two have been looking to do. It's hard because I'm pals with Azan. I want to see him do well there, but it's getting tougher and tougher each week at Wishaw. And
that could be a team that might need, like what we've said, they might need just a season down. And Aaron knows the 4th division, knows how that works. Like, and I think that could be same with Invic's to a degree as well. Like they might just need a season down to get back up. And it's
changing the mindset, isn't it? It's changing the mindset, like, because Wishaw haven't won a game this year. So even just the fact they can do it, I think PG spoke about it as well last week, where you're at the top end of the table and you're fighting, and it's not about trying to scrape for points. It's more like you're winning more games than you're losing, and you're right, because you've seen that. Like I think Luger have done it, haven't they? I know Luger were really unlucky to come down, but they've came down and they've got that winning feeling, and they've went up and sort of carried it on. And I think it's a tough job. It's a really tough job at Wishaw, and I think, see, for me, I think it's just a case of it's such a mentality now in Wishaw, where even if you date it back to last season, they're just used to losing games, and it's so hard to just break that duck. And sometimes you do need that sort of the slate wipe clean and start again almost. But that's easier said than done.
Final game in that league, obviously, if you could have predicted any game in that league to be a draw, it would have been Dalry and Ardea, the Thistle Derby. It was always going to finish a draw. They're just too similar and too solid.
And I think Sean and that would have just probably shook hands at the start of the game for a draw and just called it a day.
Probably, aye. But both will be quite happy where they are. Like, I think Sean will be delighted Ardee kind of picking up, and Dorai are just that kind of solid side in that league that could push on. I mean, that league's actually fairly tight. I'm actually quite intrigued to see how that league goes. Into the fourth division, obviously, we'll start with Rossvale 3, St Peter's 3. Again, kind of tough game. Like, Rossvale, obviously, like we spoke about it last week, like, it's no game in that league is easy at the moment because you don't know what clubs are working with and things like that. But you'd say maybe a bit of rustiness on Saturday, you would say?
Stephen, being honest, I actually think two teams were rusty. I watched the game back yesterday, and I watched some of it today again. And it's a hard watch, if I'm being totally honest with you. And it's no like us. Normally we're quite decent on the ball, but I was really disappointed personally with how poor we were in possession. I think the shape of the team in that was fine. It was more in possession that's the bugbear of mine. We were making really bad decisions. And see, if I'm being totally honest, I don't. I personally, maybe I'm just overly harsh, but I feel like we didn't deserve to win the game, if I'm being totally honest. I thought St Peter's battled well. Kenny's doing well there with a young squad, and it's a weird game because we actually went 1-0 up in 10 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes we went 1-0 up. Great finish with Mark Russell, and I kind of thought like, oh, we're going to go and have a brilliant day here, and we were just so slack, and I wasn't happy with it. And then we were 3-1 down on 90 minutes, and we managed to pull back 2 and 4 minutes of stoppage time, which, listen, I'll take it all day in a game that we're not playing well. I'll get a point, and I'll take my point and go up the road with it. But I was really disappointed not to kick on with the start that we had. But fair play to St Peter's. They came with a great game plan, and they stuck to it, and they were very regimented, and they'll cause teams trouble. They're definitely a development team, and they're getting better, and they're much better for the first game of the season we played them. So, no, but they deserved to beat us yesterday, but we just weren't at it at all. And we'll need to be better next week to beat the Port, that's for sure.
The Port obviously won 1-0 at home to West Park, goal from Purdue. Knightswood unbeaten in 15. They won 5-1 at Campbelltown. Donaldson, Miller, McGillan, Gordon and Marshall. And we spoke about it last week, and we spoke about it a few times in private conversations. It's hard to see past day 2, isn't it?
Aye, it is. I think Knightswood, it's a long travel up there, but Mick told me he was getting Knightswood a jumbo jet up as well. They've got their own jet and helicopter pads, so that was Mick that told me that. But no, that's a great win for them. It's a tough place to go, Campbelltown. Like,
yeah.
God, we went there last season, and half of our team were feeling sick getting off the bus, and I don't think people take that into account, but they done it right. They left really, really early. I speak to Mick quite often. He's a great guy, to be fair. And, he was telling me how early they left, and they've got the job done. And then you've got the great bit. That's the good bit about management, coming back down the road with a victory like that. And I think the only thing Mick was, when I spoke to him, he was just a wee bit annoyed that they never got the clean sheet. He said he felt they got a wee bit sloppy after they went 3-0 up, and then they kicked on again after they scored and managed to see it out comfortably. But I can't see by the Port and Knightswood going up. But hopefully we can have a wee bit of a say in it next week, or the rest of the season when we go to play them again, because I don't feel we gave a good account of ourselves the last time we played them.
And they're obviously flying as well, and they've got a lot of good talent as well, like Chris Miller, Alan McWaters as well, a lot of good players. Kello won 7-1 away to BSC, that puts them into fourth. Easterhouse lost 3-2 at East Kilbride Thistle. It puts East Kilbride Thistle in with a kind of slim chance of maybe getting close to that kind of promotion hunt. Carluke, a big win for them. They're up to ninth with a 3-1 win at Saltcoats. And Giffnock, obviously, John Dale's off to a winning start there with a 4-1 away win at Newmains. And that league overall, like, again, there's Easterhouse, Kello, West Park, yourselves, Eglinton, like, the different type of calibre of sides, like sides obviously looking to go back up, teams looking to kick on. Like, it makes for a really good league. I think this is actually a very underrated league this season.
It's tighter than I thought. I think I said to you last week as well, I feel as if the fourth division's getting harder.
Yeah.
And when I say harder, I don't mean in terms of like when you play the top teams in the league, the games are just about the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's not hard in that sense, but it's hard in the sense of everybody can beat each other. Like you seen, like Knightswood going down and having to score in the last minute to beat Saltcoats. I think we were 2-0 up at Saltcoats, and ended up having to rescue a 3-3 draw. And then you've got that like Royal Albert are really pushing on. They beat us 1-0 a few weeks ago as well, and about a month ago. Sorry, they're pushing teams, and it's just so difficult. And the only ones that seem to be consistently getting beaten now is BSC, which I feel really bad saying, but
Yeah.
that seems to be the only team that's consistently losing now. And I think like going to places like New Mains and stuff is really tricky. Like it's so tough. Like you do need to be on it, but I think it's probably more preparing teams for what's coming up the leagues as well, because you don't get easy weeks in the leagues either, and it's going to be tough. And you do need to be on it every week. And you need a wee bit of luck with suspensions and injuries, and that's the luck that we didn't have in 2024. But hopefully we have. Well, I say we're going into 2025, but we've got a centre half suspended on Saturday as well. So we're after a flyer with that, but we should have enough.
And obviously, what's coming up the kind of this weekend? A full fixture list, we hope. And imagine, obviously, like I don't think there's any cups on, so it looks full league next week. Just some of the games that are quite interesting. Largs play Cumnock in the Premier Division, Auchinleck, Johnson Borough. You've got Drumchapel, Bees, Troon St Cadocks. I think will be a good game. Into the First Division, you've got Cumbernauld, Vale of Clyde, Maybole, St Rochs. Peter South Thornleywood looks a good game as well. Irvine Meadow, Renfrew, I think will be quite interesting. Second Division, you've got Lanark, Muirkirk, Lesmahago, Cambuslang could be quite good. Bellshill, Nielsen will be good as well. Third Division, Finarkle, Scythe could be massive. Glasgow Uni, again, away to Glasgow United could be good. Glenvale, Thorn will be quite a good game. Into the Fourth Division, obviously, Rossvale, Port Glasgow is one to keep an eye on. I imagine you'll have an eye on Easterhouse, Eglinton, and as well, Giffnock West Park could be quite good. So it's a busy weekend next week.
Aye, isn't it half? And there's a lot of good games on. I don't know what one of them I would pick out of them, to be honest. But I think for us personally, we'll just try and we need to stop drawing and try and win. That's our thing. I'll not even be looking at Eglinton. I'll keep an eye on it after it, but we need to start winning games consistently. We're having too many draws there now. We need to start turning them into wins.
Josh, thank you very much for joining me this week, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate it. It's always good to get you on.
Aye, mate. Loved it again anytime.
Top man, mate. Thank you very much. And for more West of Scotland content, follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube, podcast and Patreon channels. We'll see you all soon. Thank you.